It's the worst hacking scandal in Canadian history, but it's not being done by a foreign government or by criminals. It's being done by Justin Trudeau in secret until a reporter blew the whistle on him. Stats Canada requesting banking information of 500,000 Canadians without their knowledge. That's quite a headline. Let me read a bit from the story. Statistics Canada is asking banks across the country for financial transaction data and personal information of 500,000 Canadians without their knowledge, Global News has learned. I'll read a little more. Documents obtained by Global News show the National Statistical Agency plans to collect individual level financial transactions data and sensitive information like social insurance numbers from Canadian financial institutions to develop a new institutional personal information bank. So it's a database of everything you buy, save, every time you transfer money, every time you use an ATM, every time you buy something on your credit card, every time you tap with your card to pay. And it's all attached to your name and social insurance number, every single thing. But what's so incredible here is this was being done secretly. The proposal was secret. And the data will be swept up secretly. No search warrant, no probable cause. You didn't have to do anything wrong. You were just chosen to be the lucky one. And you won't even know it. Your bank will not even be able to tell you if you were one of them. Here, watch some of David Aiken's video about this. Just compare how secret it is really to what the official spin from Trudeau's spokesman is.
And the level of detail it wants is significant. Not only does it want a complete description of each transaction, the value, the date, the location, and so on, it wants to link each of those transactions to an individual person by asking banks and others to turn over the following information about each of its customers: social insurance number, date of birth, name, gender, and address. Banks will turn over all this information without the knowledge or consent of those 500,000 randomly selected Canadians on StatsCan's list.
We're not keeping Canadians in the dark. We're fully transparent about the data that we collect and how we collect it, and we're happy to speak about it.
So they'll know every intimate detail of every dollar you spend. Where, when, how, to whom, from what bank, from which credit card. It's all going to the government. You won't know if you've been selected. You won't know what's being done with it. But Trudeau's guy has the gall to look in the camera and say, we're being very open about it with Canadians. Oh, and by the way, this starts in January, 2 months from now. Now, Trudeau says this is necessary to make better government decisions, really? How would that work? How would knowing what, that I bought a beer at a bar, or that I bought a particular medication at a pharmacy, how would that help Trudeau make better decisions? That's a laugh. But even if all that information in aggregate did help the government make better decisions, why do they need to know your name and date of birth and social insurance number? If it's just to build some model about our economy, why have your name in it? Why attach it to you as an individual? This doesn't make sense. It's obviously against the law, privacy laws. Now, the Conservative opposition did bring this up in Parliament. Here's Candace Bergen asking a question, and listen to Trudeau's answer.
Mr. Speaker, there were disturbing reports this weekend that Stats Canada has informed banks and credit card companies that it expects them to hand over personal financial data of at least 500,000 Canadians without their knowledge or consent. Even worse, banks won't be allowed to inform their customers that the government is following every single one of their transactions. With a long history of government privacy breaches, Canadians are rightly worried. Why are the Liberals collecting the personal data of Canadians without telling them?
Honourable Prime Minister. Our government is ensuring that the personal data of Canadians are protected. Statistics Canada will use the anonymized data for statistical purposes only. No personal information will be made public. I understand Statistics Canada is actively engaged with the Privacy Commissioner's office on this project and is working with them to ensure Canadians' banking information remains protected and private. High-quality and timely data are critical to ensuring that government programs remain relevant and effective for Canadians.
Hang on, he said the data would not be made public, that it would be protected and private. But I want my data, I want my personal information protected and private from him. It's him that I'm worried about. He's the hacker here. The government already snoops on Canadian citizens every single day. Here's another story from Global News. Revenue Canada staff themselves breached security and snooped on people they liked or hated or were neighbors with or spied on people. more than 2,300 times. 80,000 people had their privacy breached. There are breaches all the time at Revenue Canada, and the government covered it up. Let me read from the story. The type of personal information included name, contact information, social insurance number, income and deductions, and employment information. Law enforcement will not be notified. They didn't even do anything about the breach. By the way, it's not that I don't trust Trudeau and the Liberals. I wouldn't trust a Conservative politician either. I don't trust any politician or any government bureaucrat or clerk, whoever. They snoop, they take a peek, they gossip, they check out friends, neighbors, enemies, ex-wives, ex-husbands, whatever. So what can we do about this? I'm glad David Akin broke the news. I'm glad the opposition MPs are asking questions about it, but you know that's not going to get anywhere. Where are the civil liberties associations? They haven't said a word yet for some reason. So who's going to actually do something? I don't want to just talk about it or complain about it. I want to do something about it. Step one, obviously, is to let Trudeau know this is outrageous and unacceptable. Stop snooping, you perv, you peeping Tom. Stop snooping. So we've set up a massive petition at stopsnooping.ca. I want to get 50,000 names on this as soon as I can. And no, I will not give your personal details to Trudeau, just your first name. I'm not even going to give your last name, and certainly not your email address, because I don't want him to put you in a database. But sign our petition and we'll show him that 50,000 Canadians oppose this. But secondly, look, that's not enough. So I spoke with a senior lawyer about what we can do, and he agreed to look at the problem, and here's what he said about fighting back. Here's an interview I had this morning. Well, is there something we can do about it besides rant on TV? Well, joining me now in studio is a senior partner at the law firm Minden Gross. Irvin Shane is with us now. Irvin, great to see you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You've reviewed the media coverage by my former colleague David Akin. Very interesting scoop. Do you find it troubling from the point of view of privacy?
I absolutely find it troubling. I think it's extremely disturbing. You've got the StatsCan collecting information from 500,000 people, their banking information, banking data. You don't know whether or not you're one of the 500,000 people. They're collecting this information. They started this process without telling anybody, by the way, which immediately that lack of transparency is concerning. They say, and I have no reason to doubt their integrity, of course, that they're going to render this information anonymous. But they're going to do it. They're not asking the banks to do it. They're collecting the raw data. And let's face it, there are cyber breaches everywhere, and governments are not immune from that. So that concerns me. And to me, it starts with the basic proposition. What do they need this information for? Why should they have it? That itself is not clear to me. So yes, I'm very, very concerned.
You raise a good point, is if they just need general aggregate data to do studies on, Canadians are spending this much on tobacco or this much on lottery tickets. But why do they need our date of birth, our name, our social insurance number? Why? That's what scares me the most, is that they will be given that data attached to my name, your name. I don't get why that is going in there. I don't think they've made the case for that.
I don't think they've made any case for any part of this. I haven't heard in any of the media or the Prime Minister's statements or statements by the head of StatsCan either what the reason is for the harvesting of this information, the way they're doing it, or at all.
Well, we've started a petition at stopsnooping.ca. And by the way, I was scared when I did that, because I thought, well, I don't want to give more data to the Prime Minister, so we're going to redact the email addresses and the last names from the people. But I want to show that the people are concerned. This gets personal. I mean, 90% of what we do, I don't think we'd care if people saw, okay, we're buying a lunch here, or we're taking $20 out of an ATM there. But I thought, well, what if I'm in a bar and getting a drink, or what if I'm at a pharmacy and getting a kind of medicine that I'm sort of shy about? Because they add the time and place of it, I think it feels very invasive. It feels like a bit of the surveillance state. I don't know. I just thought I'd share with you what irks me about it. Is there something we can do legally? And that's why we brought you in here today. Is there a letter we can draft or a form we can fill out to challenge this before the Privacy Commissioner?
Absolutely. It is available to anybody, to any Canadian, to file a complaint with the Privacy Commissioner and ask for the matter to be investigated and determined.
I would like to retain you to do that for me, and I don't have the authority to ask you to do it for any of our viewers, but I think I'm as good a proxy as any Canadian. I have the same chance of being selected as any of them, and I value my privacy. Can I retain you to get that letter out on my behalf? And I'd like to post that letter on our website for our viewers to see, and maybe they want to replicate it too.
Well, I can't speak to the question of posting it. Of course, I'd be very, very happy to act for you.
Thank you very much. One of the things we do here at the Rebel is we crowdfund our legal projects like this. I was talking to you before we turned the camera on, and you gave what I thought was a very reasonable fee of $1,000 to do this project, and I thank you for that very modest fee. And I would like to ask the viewers to go to stopsnooping.ca to help chip in. Now, Irvin, once we file that letter, can you tell me, does the Privacy Commissioner have to engage with it? Does he have to reply to it? What processes are started by pushing that button?
There is an obligation on the Privacy Commissioner to investigate complaints that are filed. So I have no doubt that that will happen. As I understand it, there's already some variety of investigation underway. This will be added to it, and you're entitled to a response.
All right, now we've sent letters in to various authorities in the past, and sometimes the response is like a boilerplate, prefabricated, form letter. If we get an unsatisfactory letter, because the Prime Minister, as you point out, he's digging in his heels in question period, and I've seen a couple of spokesmen from StatCan who are saying, oh, there's nothing to worry about, we do this all the time, hush up. If we get an insufficient or an unsatisfactory letter, would you be willing to look at further steps? I don't know if that means a judicial review or trying to get this, I don't know what the powers are, but whatever we get back, would you be willing to look at it to see if we can push it further?
I'd be very, very happy to look at that for you, Ezra. No problem.
Right. Well, thank you for this, and I think we've covered the bases. You think that there's a problem worth complaining about. You're willing to do it for us. Thank you for the modest fee. I appreciate that. In terms of timing, how soon do you think we can get this rolling? We obviously want a good complaint, but we obviously want it timing too. I don't want to put you on the spot here, but
I'm happy to work on this next week.
Okay, great. Well, let's get it in next week. Great to see you. Thanks for taking the time to be
pleasure.
here, and good luck to us all. So there you have it. We're going to start the ball rolling because the Canadian Civil Liberties Association won't. Can you help me? Please sign our petition at stopsnooping.ca. And if you want to help me cover Irwin Shane's modest legal bill, you can do that from that same website too. Thanks for helping protect our privacy. Someone's got to do it, and I guess it's us. Go to stopsnooping.ca. Sign our confidential petition and chip into our legal fees at stopsnooping.ca, or Trudeau's going to get your banking secrets.